Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to our Supergirl After Show. Tonight we're talking Season 3, Episode 12, For Good. See you soon.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Such an epic start for a big episode of Supergirl. Of course, we are back with you. We have a new panelist. So excited to welcome you. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Tonight we're going to be talking about, again, Season 3, Episode 12, For Good. There was a lot in this episode. We're going to talk about everything. But before we do, I'm Stephanie Wenger, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stephanie Wenger.
Hey guys, I'm Ashley Brinkman, and you can find me at Ashley_Brinkman.
And I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys. You can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
And we'll be on the chat all night, so if you have any thoughts or opinions about the episode, definitely chime in, and we love hearing from you, so we're always on there, and we'll comment back too, so.
Oh yeah, like, I love how everyone else was thinking lots of Smallville references like myself, and I'm actually just now going through all of Smallville, and I'm on Season 3. And yeah, like, so I can't wait to dive into that.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a hacked episode. So let's jump into, I feel like, the main story of the night, which was Lena and her being poisoned. I felt like this was a big move for Supergirl. Like, I was not expecting this week.
Yeah, I really liked that this was a Lena episode because I love the Lena character, and there was a lot of references with Lena and comparing to Lex, and very similar with the Lex Luthor we get to see in Smallville, who was, you know, at least in the beginning, not a bad guy, much like, you know, Kara is with Lena, you know, a good friend. And what I liked in this is you see the parallels with Lionel and Lillian, but sadly, Lillian is actually a little bit more loving and caring. Lionel would have never, like, you know, tried to kill someone who tried to kill Lex. He really didn't care for his son very much. So it's nice to see this turn of pace here with the Luthor family. I guess, you know, mothers love their daughters even when they weren't theirs biologically. But yeah, we got to see the Lexo suit.
Yeah. It was slightly overboard, though. I
Yeah.
feel like I agree with Lena. No, I wouldn't want my mom to kill anyone for me. I like that we've completely figured out Lena's side, though. Like, she's not into being a murderer, although she's kind of, like, always mysterious in that way. Like, we don't know what's gonna come from her.
Because maybe if this goes on and Kara continues to lie to her, and, you know, at least with Lena, like, she has other friends than Kara, but I feel like in Smallville, you know, the betrayal eventually gets to you. I mean, at least there's no, I'll not use my mom's term for Lana Lang, that's not very nice, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see this mother-daughter relationship play out, because it's very not typically what you see, especially on a CW show. Normally it's a little more loving. This is definitely, there's a lot of animosity there. And Lena certainly has reasons for it. And Lillian just seems like she doesn't love Lena in the way you would want. Like, she's really comes down hard on her about Catco and wanting to be a mini Cat Grant, and that was a scene that I had trouble watching. I was just like, oh, it's kind of heartbreaking. And then to see her be poisoned in this episode, and someone just really really wanted to save her, I guess, and you saw that with I want to call him Guardian, but with
Jimmy, yeah.
with Jimmy, and that was one of the most, I have to say, a little bit cheesy of an action scene, but I love Jimmy. But he was just like, I'm gonna run full on, full go.
That's what I loved, is that was like the most Jimmy Olsen moment of this whole, you know, character on the show, because I always felt he was not nerdy enough, but in that moment I was like, yep, he's a nerd.
Yeah, it was like very true to like the Jimmy of the comic books, but it felt weird in this because he's normally so smooth, and this just felt like a little bit uncharacteristic for the Jimmy of Supergirl, if that makes sense.
It does. When I was watching it, I was like, wait, Jimmy, Guardian, I'm like, how? This is two completely different people. It was fun to see, like, his nerdy side.
Yeah, absolutely. And then but you really see him care for Lena, and she's not getting that from her mother, at least for most of the episode. And he really is stepping in, and he as Guardian holds Edge over the building, and you see him like really taking care of Lena, and I don't think we've seen that before.
Yeah, and that's what I liked, because Lena is a woman who can take care of herself. That's what I liked in this episode, is really we had more heroics from Lena and Alex, and not as much of Kara, which is nice to see, because they're also very strong women, and they're not even Kryptonian. But it's still, no matter how strong a woman you are, it's still nice to have a guy who wants to take care of you, right? I mean, you know, you don't need it, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, this was definitely another episode with tons of girl power. You're absolutely right. You saw it not just from Supergirl. This was definitely more of a team effort, if you will. I loved that, Lena really stood up for herself. It wasn't like, oh, Jimmy, go deal with this. She wasn't asking for him to do anything. No. She went to confront Lillian and Edge herself, and she sets up the recorder to jump ahead in the episode. And actually gets a confession from him. Yeah, that was the thing, is Lena was her own hero in the end. She's the one that got the confession and everything herself, and you saw that in several scenes, she was several steps ahead, and that's why, you know, even Kara pointed out, why'd you need your mother to point that out? That's how you've always been. And I liked that moment of her reassuring her as well, because Kara's somebody she trusts, and that's why I hope that Lena was honest about her trying to kill Edge. I want to see Kara and Jimmy be honest with Lena before she turns into Lex. Yeah. Interesting. I definitely agree with that. That she was her own hero, her own advocate in this episode. I would love to see her do more of that and continue down that path and be strong. I think she kind of alludes to it in the episode. Use those Luthor, I guess, characteristics, but for good. I don't know if it'll happen. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at least as far as I've gotten in Smallville even, like, Lex is pretty good throughout, you know, at least this part of the series. So I feel like, you know, even if they eventually turn Lena, which I hope they don't, because that would just be repeating the story. And Lena Luthor is not always seen as bad in the comics either, as opposed to Lex. So yeah, I feel like we will get Lena being a little bit of an edge because she is a Luthor, but knowing how to use that for good.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. She's certainly a gray character. She's not good, she's not bad. She definitely is a mix. But I always kind of want it, like, it's my hope for the show that she continues to go down the good path rather than turn towards what you typically think of as a Luthor.
She's definitely a loose cannon. Like, yes, you don't know if she's going to turn out to be like the Lex or continue being her own character. But I feel like they kind of allude to that she doesn't want to be lied to, and so when I think she finds out that if she does, that Kara is Supergirl, then I think she's gonna flip and take a bad turn.
That was an interesting moment for Kara to actually use her superpowers in front of her, because she doesn't know that she's Supergirl, and she's really risking a lot. And I agree with you. I think she's going to be really hurt when she figures out that Kara, Supergirl, has been lying to her this entire time. And Kara still, like, stood in front of her tonight and flat out lied and was like, oh, of course, you're dreaming that. Don't even think. And I felt like you're really kind of breaking that friendship. You're not kind of just like, you're not ignoring that, you're flat out lying at this point.
Yeah, because that's the thing, and that's why, I mean, even Tom Welling himself, who played Clark Kent on Smallville, we should play a Smallville drinking game. How many times I've said that? Like, it's like the new Constantine. But yeah, like, there was a lot of little things in this episode that come back to that show. Like, you know, we had a few episodes before bringing up the Wall of Weird and Chloe and all that, and that's the thing, is there is precedent for this. Just tell her the truth now before you get in too deep, and she might not go psycho on you. Yeah.
I'm wondering if she's gonna tell her the truth or if she's just gonna find out, because it's also eating away at Kara. So I'm curious to see if she finally just comes clean.
I'm starting to wonder if it's going to be a Jimmy ends up revealing it to her, and it's going to cause a problem. This is a bit of a prediction, but a problem in their relationship as well as with her friendship with Kara.
That would be interesting because, yeah, that's something I never thought of before, because Jimmy knows and he's also not telling her. So, yeah.
I mean, I think that that's going to be another whole layer of this problem, is that you have a boyfriend, or they seem to be going in that direction. I don't think they've officially labeled themselves boyfriend girlfriend, but they're in this relationship and he's lying to you, your closest friend is lying to you. Like, that's gonna be a real turning point for her, whether she can continue down this good path or she turns against them, right?
Yeah, Renji90998 brings up a good point. I know superheroes have their reasons, but when it comes to close friends and family, they should reveal their secret identity. And I agree. I mean, that's what I liked about The Flash, is how immediately when Barry got powers, he, like, ran to Joe. And literally, he's the best man alive. But yeah, that's the thing. He's like, oh my god, I got superpowers. I'm really excited. And, like, you know, Kara did the same thing with Winn and stuff like that. But it's just like, you know, you have this circle, and this is somebody you can trust. So it's better to just go ahead and reveal your secret and then, you know, let it be.
I agree with you, but it seemed to be an episode full of secrets, and we'll talk about Sam here in a second, but I do want to thank you again for commenting. We love reading YouTube, SoundCloud, everything. We read all of your comments, and we'll respond back. Your theories are amazing about this show, so please continue to do that. Rate, comment, let us know what you're thinking. If you have any theories about the show moving forward, we definitely want to hear them. So let's jump into this Sam situation. She, too, is... I don't know. I feel like borderline lying to everybody, because she knows more than she's saying at this point about what is wrong with her, I feel like.
I don't think she does.
You don't think so?
I don't think so either.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because when I was watching this, I was like, I feel like you know more than you're saying.
I feel like if she knew it at all, she wouldn't have gone to Alex. She would be like freaking out on her own, because as she said, she's always been on her own, and she came to Alex because she's legitimately scared for Ruby, and she trusts Alex, and I saw a little bit of chemistry there. I know it's too soon after Maggie, but I kind of want Sam to stick around, just because I
like that prediction. Yeah. That's a fun one. Do you think like they could actually go into a full relationship?
Yeah, that would be interesting, because especially being that she is Rain, and like it sucks because I'm like, I feel like Rain's story might end this season, but I'd rather her be sticking around into the next one and seeing how Alex deals with that. And then maybe, you know, they start a relationship and, you know, there's Ruby. And,
I hadn't thought of that. That's awesome.
But I just feel like we'll know she's Rain before. So that's kind of odd, yeah.
Yeah, I want to back up the storyline and kind of talk about... So Sam is still trying to figure out what's wrong with her, and Alex is giving her all these tests, and it's interesting to see that she's able to actually get a blood test. I wasn't sure that was going to be possible with her being Rain. It feels like she's had some like super strength. I wasn't sure that you would be able to like puncture her skin. I know sorry if that's gross to people, but they did, and then all the tests come back clear, because clearly what's wrong with her is that she has these superpowers and she hasn't been able to balance that out.
Yeah, Colin Prime brings up a good point. Sam doesn't know anything. It's like a split personality. And yeah, that's the thing, is if you have a DID or dissociative identity disorder, you have this same sort of blackout and you don't remember what happened. I mean, if you've seen like One Life to Live at all, I mean, 3 or 4 characters had that on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a soap opera / superhero thing.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Superhero shows are pretty well soapy. And that is a real disorder where people black out and lose time. That's why I was surprised that I do get that your first thought is medical, but maybe mental. Like, I kind of wonder if she's going to go see a therapist, maybe.
Yeah, if there's like, maybe it is mental blocks, and it's being able to I don't know if it's possible to remember those times, but if she's able to start putting those puzzle pieces together, and maybe that's the way that this season's going to play out.
I feel like that's going to happen. Like she's going to start remembering things and cluing it together, and then she has this big secret.
Yeah. I could see her kind of having almost flashbacks, right? That she feels she can remember doing something with her superpowers, but can't really put together why or how it's happening. And I feel like episode by episode, maybe it will involve a therapist, or maybe it's leaning on these girls. We really see that the power of that female friendship tonight.
Yeah, and that was good to see because, like, they're being there for Sam. That's why this is going to hurt so much. But at the same time, Sam is not aware she's doing this. So, and knowing these characters is they all tend to be pretty reasonable people, which is nice to see. And I think they'll understand if there's a way to cure Rain. But that's not how superhero land works, sadly. But yeah, like, I just think that, you know, maybe she's going to start having dreams like Kara, well, you know, how she saw Purity and things like that. And that may start to put some of the pieces together, or, you know, as I say, a therapist, they always use hypnotherapy on these shows for their recovered memories, which in real life doesn't always work out that well, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great storytelling technique on these shows, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Again, we say it all the time. This is, you know, Supergirl's world. It's not reality in any capacity, which kind of makes it wonderful. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think we're just starting to get that dual personality from Sam versus Rain. I feel like you have a comment.
Yeah, it's like this. It's actually really funny because we almost played For Good from Wicked before the show, because Raghu Sitharaman makes a comment. Lena's the Elphaba to Kara's Glinda. They should totally use the vibe in another musical episode. I'd love to see them have that kind of dynamic.
I love that.
That's really developing Lena. I'm like, wasn't on topic, but it was just funny.
No, I mean, we really literally almost played that song.
Yes.
It's interesting. I really want to see where they're going with Sam, because I like that notion of Sam and Alex getting together. I could also see it really being a story of her own, like, self-discovery, right? That she has to, in a way, deal with it in the first season, that Supergirl and Kara kind of had this dual life going on, and she'll have to figure out a way to balance her daughter and all of these things. And I think we're going to see her again lean on these girls more, and they even offer to, like, be there for her daughter and all of this. So I think, yeah, that's where it's going for me.
Yeah, I also think her daughter is going to be the turning point for Rain.
You think, will that turn her good? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that she doesn't want to leave her daughter alone. Like, I mean, the options, I mean, not that she'll be alone. Obviously, people will support her, but I don't think any mother wants to leave her daughter.
Yeah, especially being such a young mother. And, like,
yeah, I mean, because she was saying that she's been on her own since 16. Which, I mean, intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's jump into, we get a little Mon-El at the end of the episode with him coming back. I feel like we keep getting these scenes where he has these moments with Kara, and maybe I'm the only person thinking this.
Oh, no, you're not the only person. just don't comment on the internet about caramel and people will attack you forever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just feel like that every episode there's been at least one scene where you're like, this feels like they're building to something.
Well, because he's finally the man that Kara deserves, and some of us saw the potential before, because it's like, I mean, guess what, guys? Sometimes guys take a little bit longer to mature, and people aren't perfect, but they're freaking adorable, and no, I don't want him to cheat on his wife or anything like that. Keep your comments to yourself, folks. But yeah, they're adorable, they're in-game, get over it.
As people say, put the thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down.
I didn't think that they had any sort of, like, flirty connection before, that it was, like, more building onto a friendship. But this episode at the very end, I was like, all right, I feel like he's kind of opening that door slightly.
Yeah, I feel like it's just been, they're crawling towards that kind of, and that's great to see on the show, because a lot of times, and I love Supergirl, but a lot of times it'll go from, like, they broke up, new relationship the next week, and it's nice to see that they're trying to take this a little bit slowly and kind of rebuild that friendship. And I think, I don't know, maybe end of season 3 into season 4. I think this is a long game situation.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, I don't really wish Saturn Girl to die or anything like that.
No, absolutely not.
This is what happens. I mean,
life is complicated.
Yeah, it's like Iris's first love had to die before she could get with Barry. I mean, Felicity's boyfriend had to die before she could marry Oliver. Guys, this is how they write things. That is what happens, because, you know, he loves both of them, and, you know, one thing leads to another, and you know, this is how these shows are. They're in game, and at least we've got a few people in the chat, like the Queen of Regal, who is on our side.
No, I think I don't want Saturn Girl to be off the show. I think she's really
great.
interesting dynamic, and she was great in, I think it was last week's episode, they had all the girls working together, and I think she really adds an interesting element. I just think that if you look at what they're building with Mon-El and Kara, like that's probably where it's going. I don't know, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm totally incorrect, and it'll be Saturn Girl. Who knows? And then I think it's interesting also that we're getting more and more kind of the DEO, and we're learning kind of about the powers of the DEO. I feel like every week it's like now they're doing medical, like it's you just keep building this thing, and like it's a government agency that does apparently everything, right? Yeah, I was like, oh, this is I mean, I know they've done medical things before, but this felt like really like ER-ish.
Yeah, Alex feels so skilled at anything. Anything you put in front of her, I feel like she takes it on and just automatically knows what to do. And
I'm sure, again, that I may be the only person, but this felt like a very much a Grey's Anatomy scene to me. I was like, oh, we're going back. I mean, she was great on Grey's Anatomy, so it makes sense, but it was very funny to see her very involved in the medical side of things.
Yeah, because she's Lexipedia.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, I admitted I watched that.
You know, we all have our things.
Yeah. Only till Katherine Heigl left, guys. I gave up long ago.
Oh, I will say that I regularly watch Grey's Anatomy. So if anyone wants to tweet me about Grey's, they can also do that. Let's talk about this reveal that I feel like we talked about last week on the show a little bit, but the world killer here. I think it was a car crash last week, and we saw this woman have superhuman strength and be able to survive what no one would be able to survive. And we predicted on the show that she would be a world killer. And we saw at the end of the episode that, of course, Kara's kind of identifying her as that. And I wrote down her name. It's Gillian Freeman. And what do you think about that?
This is interesting, although, I mean, I guess we'll talk about it in predictions, because I think, you know, this may not go the way that we're thinking, even with the previews, just from some other stuff I've read, which is interesting to me. But, I mean, and especially being her name is Purity, maybe she's not going to be evil. Yeah.
Yeah, so do you think, so we're thinking not a world killer then?
Well, I think, you know, maybe you can be a world killer and be, you know, much like a lot of people on this show. They could be bad, but they actually have a choice. Like, and that's sort of the thing is while Rain may not be, you know, Sam may not be in control of Rain, maybe Julia is in control a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think she's definitely, like, her name says a lot. So she's trying to, like, purify the city and the people. But I think she thinks what she's doing is going to be right, but she's going to be all wrong. And she'll eventually get taken down.
Interesting. All right. So I think tonight we're actually going to jump into predictions.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
I think we're
Got a little bit of light.
a lighting effect. All right. So let's, do you have any big ones, either of you want to start off?
Well, yeah, back to that news, there was some comments that possibly the woman playing Julia Freeman in this character might turn out to actually help them. I'm trying to think of the source, but as I say, I mean, you know, it was a legitimate source, but they recently posted an interview with an actress that, you know, doesn't paint everything the way that certain shows are, so I, you know, hate to reveal their name and, you know, really say it as, like, true news. But yeah, I've seen some sources that say that possibly this character won't be completely evil.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like she's going to have an arc, I agree with that, where it may start evil, but end more positively. I don't know. What do you think?
I think she's going to give a lot of information.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to be very important to the storyline, and they'll extract a lot of information, but I don't think she'll be around for too long.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've been hearing is that she'll have a short arc that will lead to other things. I think she is not certainly. We always talk about big bads on this, and she's certainly not a big bad. I would not imagine she's a big bad. I'm interested to see though. It looks like it's going to be an action-packed episode next week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And as you saw, she was in the DEO, and you know they were possibly experiencing. So maybe much like with Psy and Livewire, there we go. They can sort of make them good, or they have the ability to be good. And Billie Jean Girl 24 brings up a good point. What I don't get is Kara was able to spot Julia Freeman from her dream as a world killer, but not able to recognize Sam's voice in the lab. Because whenever they were in Fort Ross, like, she dropped, like, the voice, you know, the air voice changer in there.
That brings up a big question for me. What do you think will happen when everyone realizes that Sam is Rain? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, because they already have the knowledge that she's having these blackouts.
Right.
So it would be odd for everyone to assume that she's aware of it at this point. Now, some people may not believe her, but wouldn't at least one of them be like, hey, probably Alex,
Yeah, I just feel like, it's again going to be something where, well, first she needs to realize it, I think, and then it's how or maybe they'll realize it before she does. I don't know how that'll play out, but I think it will be a surprise to them, certainly.
Yeah. I didn't think about that before until you just said it, but I think maybe they could find out before she does, and they'll have to give her the bad news. Yeah,
especially I feel like if you were correct, Lacretia, in that Sam and Alex getting into a possible relationship or heading that direction, if she's the one to realize it, that could be a very difficult moment for her because she starting to feel things for Sam, but Rain has obviously done nothing positive for, you know, her family and Supergirl and all this. So I think having to balance that is really tough.
Yeah, and that would be an interesting story I'd like to see. And I know everyone in the chat, and even myself, has speculated that if Sam dies, Alex will adopt Ruby. I think we've all been thinking that, but it's like, you know, I don't want it to be so immediate. Like,
I mean, I feel like with the child, like with Alex wanting children, that's been such a kind of clear-cut storyline that I would like a little bit of depth to it. It feels like very much like I want to be a mother, so I have to end this relationship. And now, okay, I can babysit Sam's daughter. Okay, I'm starting to have feelings for Sam. I just want there, not necessarily an obstacle. Like, I want her to be happy, but it just feels a little bit too cookie cutter.
Yeah. And we already saw her. It kind of makes sense now that you put it that way, because we saw her go to the other little girl's door and, like, was acting kind of like a big sister mom-like character and taking care of her already. So it would be fitting, but it would be kind of unfortunate for it to, like, happen so cookie cutter like that.
Right, exactly. I just want it to be like, okay, maybe she doubts whether she can be a single mom. Like, if they put in some doubt or some, like, questioning of herself in this process, because I think that realistically, again, not in Supergirl world, but in real life, that happens. People want to be parents, but they question whether it's the right time or whether they're able to any of these things. There are other elements that play in, and I would love to see that brought into Supergirl. I don't know. It's just a thought. Let us know in the chat if you totally disagree and you just want her to be a mother tomorrow. I totally understand that too. What do we think about, do you think Mon-El and Kara will happen soon, or do you think that it'll happen later in the season?
I think it'll be probably even next season that, you know, they're building it back up. I mean, because, too, a lot of people's complaints with Mon-El was he was not a man that Kara deserves. And I'm like, the Mon-El that we've seen all this season is, like, very on par with Kara. And as you said, it's because of her. And, you know, he is this way. And I really like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect to see it until next season as well.
Yeah, I think it'll either be very end of this season, like a kind of tease to next season, or I agree with you, season 4. And then I guess I'm doing a little bit of a relationship update here, but with Lena and Jimmy, do we think, are they gonna stay in this, or are they breaking up?
I just don't see this as a long-term relationship. Like, I mean, they're cute, but there's just not really a lot of foundation. Plus, she's kind of his boss, and you know, it is kind of sad, but like, there's not really that much of a place for Jimmy. So I do find it just kind of like this was a filler story for him. And I kind of wonder if Jimmy might be a casualty of Reign, and that may be what pushes Lena a little bit to the darker edge, but hopefully not all the way to the Morgan edge. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thought that I had was, we mentioned that Guardian, she does not know that Jimmy is Guardian. So that could be another issue for her. So she doesn't know about Supergirl, she doesn't know about Guardian. These are a lot of secrets to have with someone with the potential for evil.
Yeah, and someone who would be incredibly hurt if they found out that people so close to her were keeping secrets like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because she feels like this is her family, for lack of a better description, right? Her mother was not particularly loving, and these are the people, like, her family she's built. And so to have them have all these lies and secrets will be a lot for her to handle, and I'm really excited to see how that plays out in the rest of season 3.
She's also kind of turning down her mother's love. I think that's because she's built her own little family with these people. So I think she will find out their secrets and be completely crushed, which could turn her.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I'm excited for the rest of season 3. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us. Thank you so much, Ashley. We're so excited to have you. And you can find everybody on social media at AFTERBUZZ TV, and you can find me at Stephanie Wenger.
And you can find me at Ashley_Brinkman.
And I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys. You can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And February 6th, I'll be releasing my podcast, Mrs. Brightside. You'll probably notice some of the guests being from AFTERBUZZ TV. Be sure to subscribe to that on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever your podcast can be found. I'll try to put it on them all so you can all watch it.
Definitely check it out, and we'll be back next week with more Supergirl. See you guys then.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.